Ahoy! And welcome to this Narrowboat adventure. So today we're doing a little video about a wonderful boat called the Onion Barge, and I spent yesterday helping them deliver delicious organic fruit and vegetables to the narrowboats of London. We went on a long cruise and dropped off the vegetables as we went past the people's boats. As we spoke about in the address problem, one of the problems is if you are somebody who likes to have groceries delivered, that becomes quite difficult. But not so much anymore in London because of the Onion Barge. So I spent some time with Emma and Mike, and I'm going to let them tell you a little bit more about what they do.
I'm Emma Robertson, and I, with my partner Mike Siddell, who's currently driving, run the Onion Barge, and we deliver organic fruit and vegetables. We set up this veg box scheme because when we were in a flat in London, we used to get a weekly delivery of organic vegetables, and they came in a cardboard box, no plastic packaging. They were all covered in mud, as they would be just from the farm, and they were delicious, and you knew that there weren't any pesticides on them, and you didn't really have too much rubbish to throw away, and they were really exciting as well because you'd get different varieties each week, and we really missed that on a boat because we didn't have an address. We were floating around, and actually, even since we've moved on to a mooring, it's been hard for people to find our address. So we wanted to provide something similar for boaters. So what we do is we go to our organic wholesalers and we pick up a load of vegetables, pop them all into boxes and containers for people, and then we go along and we put those containers onto their boats. And as well as the vegetables, what we try to do is also source other local products, buy things like dried goods, pasta, rice, chickpeas, so we can get large bags of those kinds of things and then weigh out how much people would want. We can also do things like refills. Most people, when they buy laundry detergent or washing up liquid for their homes, they just go to the supermarket and they buy off the shelf a bottle of the stuff, and they don't think about when they've finished that product where that bottle is going to go. If you don't have a rubbish collection every week from your local council, then that bottle potentially becomes quite a problem. We also take away vegetable peelings and veg waste, and we bring that back to our allotment that we have, and we stick it on our compost heap for them. So the sorts of things that people get in our veg boxes, we do two sizes of box. We do a standard size, which is enough for sort of 2 people for 2 weeks, and then we do a smaller size, which is enough for maybe 1 person for sort of a couple of weeks, or maybe 2 people who don't eat at home so much or maybe don't do so much cooking. And in terms of the veggies, the smaller box usually contains about 6 different vegetable items, and then the larger box we top that up to 8 or 9. This week we have some beautiful leeks, so that's about 500 grams of leek there, and there are sort of onion products for the week. We also have these gorgeous red Desiree potatoes. You can see the skins are really purpley and beautiful. Humongous parsnips! So 500 grams of parsnip is basically 1 parsnip. These Swedes, which were so big that I actually had to chop them in half for our customers because that is a lot of Swede. And these really cute little squashes, which I think are Turk's turban, although I'm not sure, I'd have to check that on the price list. But they're really tasty actually. We use them a lot in soups, and my favourite is a squash risotto with parmesan cheese. So we get mixed carrots, so there's an orange carrot there, and these carrots are white carrots, and actually you wouldn't expect them. You sort of expect them all to just taste like carrots, but they do subtly taste slightly different. Like the white carrots are slightly sweeter and almost more parsnippy. Not that, I mean, obviously they're not parsnips, they're definitely carrots. They still taste like carrots, but they have more of a parsnippy edge. And we also occasionally get some really beautiful purple carrots in the bag, but I don't know if I can find you one. and they tend to be really dark, almost like beetroot coloured purple, which is quite interesting and unusual. There's this lovely cabbage here. We have some delicious sprouts, which I love, and Jasmin was just telling me about a really fantastic Jamie Oliver recipe with bacon and Worcester sauce. Oh, amazing. And we were discussing maybe eating sprouts like popcorn in front of like a movie, just dipped in Worcester sauce. Now, we don't usually manage to put tomatoes in our boxes because organic tomatoes are hugely expensive. But when we see them, and when we see them, European tomatoes particularly, because one of the things that we really try to do with our veg boxes is get everything as locally as possible. So we really try to make sure that as many of the products that we're putting in our boxes are British. If not British, definitely from within Europe. And these tomatoes this week were Spanish tomatoes. I haven't tried one, but they're looking really quite delicious. In our fruit boxes this week we have some fair trade bananas. Obviously they're not European, it's not really possible to get European bananas, but we tend to put bananas in. They're just a really good standard. We also have some really good British apples. These are Cox's, and they are looking particularly lovely, which are blood oranges. And the chap said, our supplier said that they might not be very bloody, which made me giggle a little bit. And that's because we haven't had a particularly harsh winter. Apparently, if you want blood oranges to be really bloody, what you need to do is chill them down. They might still need to be maybe left outside. I mean, it's supposed to go down to about -2 this weekend. So if people leave them on their foredecks for the weekend, then next week they'll be beautifully red. And we also have some really delicious, very grapefruity smelling grapefruits as well in our boxes this week. Again, really quite large. So those are in there. In terms of other products, from week to week things change, but what we're trying to do is just have all your basics on board.
I love fruit and veg, but sometimes, especially in the winter, when you have to track big bags of baked potatoes or heavy veggies and fruit down to your boat, it can be a real pain. And actually it's quite hard because every time you move you have to find somewhere with good fruit and veg, whereas with the Onion Barge you know you're going to get good stuff, you know it's going to be organic, you know it's going to be delicious. Can't wait for my box in a couple of weeks' time. May I recommend the Onion Barge if you are a London boater. Their information is just going to be down in the description below. Let me know if you guys are receivers of fruit and veg boxes, even if you're not in a boat, and what your favourite fruit and what your favourite vegetable is. As Emma said, I love sprouts. They are my absolute favourites, and I love kiwis when they're ripe, and strawberries. Oh, I love strawberries. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me again on this Narrowboat adventure. If you'd like to join us again, you can click subscribe, and have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye!